The next thing I want to point out is notice how many steps are process-oriented versus technical steps, and try to think about that as you go through this course. Hey guys, my name's Ali and I'm a data analytics manager working in Oslo, Norway. This is the second video in my series where I follow the Google Data Analytics Professional Certificate, and I give you guys some thoughts and feedback on the different weeks as I go through them. In this video, we're going to focus on week number 3, 4, and 5 in the Foundations course, which is the first course that you're going to take if you are taking this certificate. The notes that I wrote down from week 3 is that it is still quite theoretical oriented, now more about the background, which I think is quite useful, but it is quite glossed over. So if you're finding some of these subjects interesting, the phases of the data lifecycle, the data analysis process, then do not hesitate to take a look at that. Go through that. You'll find a lot of good articles online about that if you want to learn more about that, but this is just a very glossed over look at it. There is a self-reflection collecting data exercise, which I thought was quite useful, which talks a little bit about how you are going to reflect and how to collect data. That was actually quite good. 6 steps of data analysis is worth repeating a couple of times, which I just mentioned. The next thing I want to point out is notice how many steps are process-oriented versus technical steps, and try to think about that as you go through this course. Both in the phases of the data lifecycle and outlining of the data analysis process, think about that. And I'll also written some questions. Can you name some examples from the data analysis process? Can you tie some of that to some real-life examples that you know about? And can you explain your portfolio based on the data analysis process? Also something you might want to do. Maybe you want to write down the data analysis process and try and look at your portfolio and see how you can use that together to be able to talk your way through the portfolio with the data analysis language and the way that they use and they explain how the entire process looks like. Journal entry, organizing data. I didn't find that valuable, so I skipped it. I know that they talk about Tableau and Looker as visualization tools. Keep in mind, if this is all new to you, Looker is quite new. It is a Google product, and it uses something called ELT, which stands for Extract, Load, Transform, instead of Tableau, which will usually follow a ETL process, which stands for Extract, Transform, Load. This is about how you get data from the source to the visualization tool. Looker is a little bit ahead. It's more of a new way of thinking, but a lot of companies are not there. So if you're trying to break into the industry right now, I would probably focus on Tableau. Choosing the right tool for the job is good for understanding the different use of spreadsheets versus query languages, if you want to know more about that. That are the things that I wrote down about week 3. Thought it was good. Still, very good introduction. I think the Foundations is doing what it's supposed to. It's giving you an introduction to the foundation information that you need to know. If you are still watching and you like this video, then consider subscribing and help me hit my goal of 10,000 subscribers in 2021. On week 4, it had mastering spreadsheets basic, learn about structured query language, SQL, visualizing the data, and then introducing quick labs. Once again, good intro to some basic elements in the spreadsheets, more or less the same as an Excel is what I've written. If you've never looked at Excel and this is the first time you're looking at a spreadsheet, you definitely want to look at Excel also, not only Google Sheets. It could be smart to do some of your own practice on a separate data set for this. That is because the data set that they used for this, I think you did some small things. You do some average and some very, very basic stuff. So if you have the possibility to take out a data set, try some formulas, try some functions, try and do some stuff on your own also. It is a very short intro to SQL queries. I think that some of the stuff that I spoke about, they could have had more hands-on tasks while explaining it, but I take it that comes later. They touch on select all, comments, formatting. Take notice of this, think about this as soon as possible. Very good points. I've written formatting is very important. I've also linked to a place where you can find some SQL tutorials, so I can put that in the description. Other than that, I wrote good intro to data visualization. Don't skip planning a data visualization, which I thought was quite good, just in terms of how do you kind of figure out what you want to visualize, how you want to do it, how you want to set that up. Quick labs are temporary sessions, so consider creating your own environment. That wouldn't be a bad idea. For every time you run quick labs, you have to set up a session. You have to kind of go through the same process. You start the lab, log in, accept some stuff, and then you do this every time because they create some temporary Google session for you, and that has to be opened and closed. I think throughout this course it would be great if you have a separate place where you can try some of these things without getting the instructions or getting the feedback right away if something is right or wrong, just to test it out. Test it in different spreadsheets. If you have a SQL instance with a database restored, test it there, and I think that will give you a lot of value. Overall, week 4, once again, foundations, very basic, but you are learning stuff that are definitely very relevant. Week 5, probably, I think some of this was optional, which I don't really understand why, because I thought this was really good, where you learn about, data analyst job opportunities, making decisions with data, defining fairness in data, and this is what I'm talking about. Optional is exploring your next job. I thought that was really good. I would not skip that one. I think it's great that they spend some time on the actual positions and possibilities. I think there is, I can't remember, actually the video's name is Joey, Path to Becoming a Data Analyst. And he says, in analytics, I feel that the key to success is being able to blend the personal side with the technical side. And I could not agree more. And notice what he says. When he talks about his personal experience, he says, I started out with a big focus on the technical, and later he realized how important the interpersonal skills are, because yes, you're going to learn a lot of technical skills, but you got to be able to talk to people, you got to be able to communicate with people, you got to be able to help other people understand how they're going to get value of whatever it is that you're trying to provide them based on the technical skills that you have applied. Also, fairness is something that they talk about here, how you have to be aware of how you use the data, that it is not skewed, that it doesn't have any bias. I think it's good that they bring that up. When I have seen certifications or courses, I don't see that often. So I think that is really good. I've also written that sometimes overlooked. Final thing I've written down is that the final course questions were surprisingly challenging and fun to do, and I really mean that. I thought they were good. I thought they had a good blend of the different things that you touch on in the foundations. I think that the foundations has been really good so far. I like the guy who is taking us through it. I like the pace. I like the different stuff that they touch on. They touch on stuff that I haven't thought about or seen a lot of other places. So far, I think it's a really good course, and it seems like a certification that turns out really good. Now, of course, there are 5 or 6 more courses, I don't remember, so we'll see where we end up at the end of it, but so far, so good. The only thing I've written down here is that they only mentioned Tableau and Looker as visualization tools. They had Google Drive, Google Sheets. Of course, it's Google's course, so that is as expected. But overall, really good. Those are my thoughts on the Foundations course in the Google Data Analytics Professional Certificate. I would say so far so good. I like it. I would not hesitate to tell someone to start off to look at this and use this as for what it is, which is a primer, which is a foundations. Now we will see how things develop as we go here and into the other courses. If you like this video, then give it a thumbs up. If you want to follow this series or you want to see more videos on data and analytics, then subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.